Very good Wi-Fi here at this Airbnb. Very good internet. Well, the audio is good, isn't it? I just heard myself. Audio is excellent. Great. All right. Welcome everybody to this Engage session. So I've got your chat no, I did not buy the kangaroo scrotum key ring. I can't think of anything more awful. Poor Skippy. How can you do that to our national symbol? I think it's disrespectful. Imagine if we did that to bald eagle's nuts. It'd be a riot. Exactly, right? Terrible stuff. You have to tune into my Instagram feed to see what we're talking about. All right, folks, let's do this live from Sydney. I would like to hear what your wins for the week were. So if you just take a minute and drop them down into the chat here, that would be awesome. Let's have a look. Got back to doing my weekly cookies out at the end of last year and made a sale out of the effort over the New Year break. There we go. That's a good start. That's for sure. Turn piles on my decks into tickets in my Kanban board. Drop 2 buckets and going to backup number 3. Set up my Zettelkasten. Discovered library is working. Killing productivity, writing copy with 50-minute tickets. Love it. Finished setting up my environment. Caught up with a lot of sleep and feeling way better. Figured out my funnel offerings. Started posting my instructional videos on YouTube and Facebook. Fantastic. Big enjoyment and relief to work with a roadmap. Started 12 weekly group coaching calls. Got my Kanban board set up. Bulletproof diet going well. Lost 5 stones so far. That is fantastic. I'm missing my bulletproof coffee in the morning. Set up and instigated my slip box. Nice, Brad. Decided my Sage document, updated so it's ready to go. Spent some quality time with the kids. Very good. I'm not sure if my kids are enjoying the quality time that I'm having with them. Finished module 3, pick your market. Got a new biz project. Decluttered office just for my work. Fantastic. Very good. Did you see, have you all noticed, and you heard it here first in the Academy, well, you heard it actually a couple of years ago, how big Marie Kondo's going in that Netflix series? It's everywhere. You all knew about her 2 years ago. So we were sparking joy around here long before the masses. So stay tuned for if you want a cultural zeitgeist thing to know about. That's like an extra bonus. My wife started upstairs, has made it to my area in the basement, made time to celebrate my birthday. Great series. Yeah, it is fantastic. And what is particularly, for me, the methodology is really interesting and really fascinating. But what's even more important to me is it just goes to show that you don't have to be this out there psychopathic 24/7 nutbag influencer. There are, and God bless them, to have the energy and have their video crews and have themselves toting around 24/7 and documenting their life online. Bless, and it's working for you. That is great. What excites me so much is Marie Kondo has 10 times the intensity of any of those influencers. 10 times. But she doesn't need to, she doesn't need to be out there. She's very quiet. She's cute. She is, to me, she's the golden child of what it's like to be an influencer that is extraordinary. Like her passion for her subject, like I said, 10 times the passion of any of the influences that you have in mind that you're seeing every day on your YouTube and advertising on Facebook. 10 times, right? But it's quiet and it's incredibly powerful. And I think that's fantastic. And Paul makes another fabulous point. Some people are worried about the way they speak their English. She speaks in Japanese, has a translator, good lesson for content creators. Absolutely. She definitely loves what she does and is excited about it, but she doesn't have to be an insane, crazy person who's showing how they're hustling 24/7. And that's why she, for me, she's my spirit animal and has been from the time Dean Jackson and I discovered her all those years ago. Has been, it's even if you don't appreciate the actual methodology, the reality is her intensity and passion on that is I just love, because it's quiet. It's quiet. It's just she does what she does, and she's been doing it since she was a kid, and I just love that. Right. So I think that's inspiring. That's what I think. All right, good stuff. Lots of great wins there this week. Let's talk about the learns. What did you learn? What's your learning lesson for the week? Yeah, she's got 1.4 million followers without having to bear all in her Instagram followers. She's just really, and I just think it's great. Just fantastic. Environment is super crucial for productivity. Yes. Glad to hear that. It's worth sticking with completing a weekly cookie, even if you don't get much feedback. Sometimes you wonder what is happening to the info you send out. People read them and some people buy. They sure do. Not fall in love with ideas. If I let go and relax a little bit, the world won't fall apart. One ticket at a time. You can learn a lot in a short time. But when you have the right recipes, roadmap, and ask the right questions, no matter how much I plan ahead, there's always something that eats my time. And that's, and we can slowly eat it. Pardon the pun, Bill. You can slowly eat away at that as well. You can start to look at it from the concept of, okay, well, what is eating away my time, and start to analyze it. And remember, the first step of any 12-step program is admitting we've got a problem. So just keeping an eye out and maybe spending a couple of minutes at the end of the 50-minute session and say, well, I got distracted by something there. What was it? And is there a way I can do that? And often the best way is an environmental solution. Like if you can come up with an environmental solution to it, if that's practical, then that can be a great thing for sure. I can tell when I'm on the wrong track when I feel like I have no energy for my niche. Minor change of direction can make all the difference. Done a lot of learning about keto, and my electrician gave me some tips. Constraints equals higher productivity. No plan, no action. Very good. Time spent to declutter my space and mentors is worth every minute. Less is more. Fiverr is not for complex tasks. Use Upwork. Nice. I like that. That is a pretty good distinction, I reckon. When overwhelmed, step back and work one step at a time. Keep it to 7 CFTs a week. Yes, if you get consistency of CFTs is way, way more important than bulk number. Like it's tortoise and the hare. It's Aesop's oldest and most, common of questions. The tortoise will always beat the hare. If you can get a person who does 5 CFTs a week religiously will always beat the person who does 10 CFTs here, but then does none for 2 weeks and then does 5 here and then does 2 there. Even if they end up, here's the interesting thing. Even if they ended up completing the same number of CFTs, the person who's doing the consistent CFTs will always get better results than the person who's working in fits and starts. Focusing on my most important task has a way of generating ideas. That's a really good point too, Bobby. That is a classic example there of, the science of emerging and deliberate strategy. If you are genuinely working intensely on something, your brain is going to try help you. It's going to try and make connections. It's going to try and make adjustments. It's going to try put together all sorts of things for you. And it's what happens. Whereas if it can tell, your brain can tell whether you're really deliberately working or not. And if you're not deliberately working, it's going, oh, okay, that's right. I can kick back. I'm not doing this. But don't use time constraints or get lost chasing shiny objects. And I hope everybody's reading all of these, because this is, these are really valuable. Important to keep perspective between biz and personal life. Don't judge myself too harshly. Ed isn't going to fuss at me if I don't make much progress. Yeah, in fact, I'll be even more blunt than that. I don't care. I don't care what you did last week. It's because it's history. There's nothing I can do as your coach to help anything that you did or did not do last week. The only thing I can do is help you get pointed in the right direction for this upcoming week and help getting you focused on the, dwelling too much. And as many people do, and I've got to watch it too, is if you dwell on all the stuff that you didn't do, well, guess what? Your brain's not going to like that. You're generating chemicals that it does not like. It needs, so it will come up, it needs to generate positive chemicals. So where's it? It's going to go to your well-formed massive habits. So you're going to start watching television. You're going to start reading a book. You're going to start doing something that is, your brain knows, oh, here's a way to produce some stress-free, mindless dopamine. And it's going to do that. It's going to hit you up with the, you're going to spend time on Twitter. So it's all about chemical management. When you focus on a market, you may discover an entire industry that you didn't even know was there. Yeah, totally true. What was I talking about? Like Airbnb. It's unbelievable. The intricacies of Airbnb and Airbnb for investment and all sorts of different things. Fascinating. Make sure I identify multiple research options. Don't assume I already know where to look. Yeah, we talked about that a lot in last week's Engage session, right? Don't assume it makes an ass out of you and me is a really cool thing. Brain FM and Working Silent City has reduced the noise. Fantastic. Yep, if that works for you. There are some people that need absolute silence, and I'm sorry for you people. You wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right here, right now. But yeah, then you need to invest in a good earplugs, noise cancelling headphones. Think about environment. Where can you find a quiet environment that can work for you? If you use Brain FM, that could be great. A PC, I like an air conditioner, works perfectly until you open the windows. Coming to appreciate the importance of taking into account my energy level when thinking I have all the time in the world for CFTs. Yes, very important. Makes 100% sense. Okay, cool. This is a chance for you if you are need some help for the upcoming week. Need something that you need clarified, or you don't understand something, or if there's something that you need help with, now's the opportunity to put an N and a colon, and please make sure you do that. Make sure you do that N in the colon for me, so because I don't want to make sure I leave anybody hanging, and I don't want to miss people. So make sure you do that with that. Okay, Adrian's going to be our first contestant today. Now, I didn't think about this lovely, relaxed environment when it goes to working the computer. All right, if you unmute yourself, Adrian, you'll be good to go.
Good morning.
There he is.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Yeah, same to you, mate. Okay, so, getting started again. Okay, so what's the what's the goal here? Where I obviously know, but this is just for the purposes of the engage session. What's the goal for you?
Make sales. So the last time we had a good conversation about this before I took a hiatus, we were talking about finding a way to turn the tap on. So I've got a cookie. I send out a cookie. I've got a list of people, but I think that I only get a drib and drab of sales every now and again. So I want to find a way to ramp that up to start making consistent sales.
Okay, cool.
I'm not sure if the long form sales letter I have is the right way of doing that. I'm not sure if there's a better way or a faster way.
Okay, cool. So whenever we're looking at this, we've always got to go to our customer factory. Okay, so and we always work backwards. So the first question we've always got is product, right? Do you have a product?
Yes.
Yes. So, and what is it? Just for everybody who's listening.
So it's a 6 week online training program for hill cycling. So riding a bike up hills, improving your ability to do that.
Fantastic. All right. And what's the current pricing on that?
$297 US.
$297 US. Okay, cool. Okay, and then obviously we need some sort of conversion process. And you have a conversion process currently?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a long form sales letter.
Correct.
All right. Right. Do you know off the top of your head how many people have seen this over the last month?
Not off the top of my head, but a very small number because I don't have much traffic going to it.
Okay, so we don't know what the conversions are, right?
No.
Okay, so one of your first jobs, right, is to get back up to speed with metrics. We can't manage what we're not measuring.
Okay.
Right, so we need to know unique visitors, right, and we need to know sales. So we need to know the effectiveness of this sales letter.
Yep.
All right, now, as you say, you just simply may not, if this unique visitor number is, we need it to be around 1,000 before we can make estimates, right?
Yes.
All right, so that way we can get a really good thing. But we've got a sales letter, okay? So we've got a conversion process. Safe to say because the next thing, of course, is traffic. And it's safe to say that there hasn't been much traffic.
Correct.
All right, so if that's fine. And then, of course, if we're collecting emails,
sorry, I missed that.
If we're collecting emails,
not at the moment.
Yeah, right. Okay, so, and you also mentioned, which is great, right? You are sending out a cookie question, like what we call a cookie email, which for those of you who don't understand the terminology is something. It's a newsletter. We give a great piece of information to people, and we have what's called a super signature on it. Okay, so we've got that email going out. And what's great is you got a sale from that. Which is awesome. Okay.
Yes,
cool.
very good.
Right. So we're looking at this, and let's color the parts that are that are, you know, are not working right now. Right, we've got traffic, and that traffic actually appears in two spots in this sequence, right? Doesn't it? Because there's traffic here too.
Yes.
Right, there's an email like building the list. All right, so we've got our traffic here as well. So looking at that, Adrian, what do you think? Where's the part where you think you should be focusing first to get things started again?
I think I need to build a bigger. I need to get more eyeballs onto the sales letter, but I need to have more people on the list in order for them to get to the sales letter. Does that make sense?
Well, you've got two options, right? You can start up because, and this was working fairly, like when this was going, traffic to email, that was working pretty well.
Yes, so I was collecting. So when I collected it, when I was collecting emails and then sending out the cookie with the super signature, that traffic was, I guess you could say, warmer and more open to the product.
But if you talk about what was your cost per email?
Oh, well under $1. It was like 40 cents, 30 cents.
Right. So one of the things that you can obviously spend your 4 CFTs on is just restarting this process. Restarting this one.
Yep.
Right. That's one thing. So if we look at looking at this block and restarting that block is going to be a good idea. But the other big question you've got, right, is I don't know if this sales letter is working. I just don't know. Fair?
Yeah.
Right. So the other thing that we could test is what happens when you send cold traffic. And, well, cold traffic, in other words, they haven't heard from you, but it's targeted traffic. Cold targeted. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, how much was it costing you per eyeball? Right? Not necessarily cost per email, but do you remember how much it was costing?
No, you tested me. It was a lot more expensive. It was probably, it was a lot more expensive.
It should be, yeah. So what you need to do, is what's the cheapest, way that we can, get our, like if we really want to test this, we want to get 1,000 views of that. So if, for example, in my market, I know I can get a view, views are at, approximately 25 cents. Right. So it's going to cost me $250 to do that test.
Yep.
All right. So to do a direct to traffic thing is doing that test. So there's two things that you can do. Right. One is do a direct to traffic test. Now you may do this over 4 weeks, right? You could, if you've got the resources, throw the traffic at it over the course of the next 5 days, right? Or if you want to do it more slowly, that's fine. Do it, break it up $50. But here's the thing. We need to set, because here's what we know. A good sales letter with cold traffic should really convert somewhere between, our conversion number should be somewhere between 0.5 and 1% for a good sales letter to targeted cold traffic. So if we sell 1%, right, or even 0.5%, you actually haven't paid a thing because you will actually get your money back. or you'll discover that the sales letter is not converting.
Yep.
All right. Then the other test, there's one other thing, and then this, you've got more than enough.
Yes.
Right. How many people are on your email list right now?
2,500.
You've got 2,500 people on your email list. Fantastic. So the final thing I'm going to suggest that you do is a 9-word email. So I want you to send out to the 2,500 people. Are you still looking to get better at hill climbs with your bike? Clean that up a little bit, but that's simply that question, nothing else. Okay, got that?
Yes.
What does that do? It shakes the tree.
Yes.
Right? So people on your existing list, you never know. Your luck. You might have a couple of people email you back and say, yeah, I really am. I've been thinking about it, but now, it's new year, new me, and I'm really keen to get to try on this. And you say, great, well, what's it? And then you can send them into a winter haven.
Yes.
And what? At the end, you can say, hey, do you want my help? Cool, I've got this course. And sell them that way. And it'll be fascinating to see how many people respond.
Most excellent. Yeah, it's good.
There you go. That's your start. That's your get back on track formula.
Cool. And stick to, with the restarting the original list building, should I just keep sticking to the Facebook ads that I was doing, or should I look at Google or other sources of?
Oh, I think you got to start up the thing that was working first.
Sure.
And then, yeah, for sure, down the track. But really, we need to generate sales, because that will then give us cash flow that we can reinvest back into exploring Google, exploring YouTube, exploring Instagram.
Yeah.
Right.
So with the cold targeted traffic directly to the sales letter.
Yeah, because we need a scientific basis to say, look, is the sales letter working? Do we need to tweak it? Do we need to change the, because for a $250 product, who knows? There are many other methodologies for selling.
Yeah, and is cold targeted traffic different on Facebook as it is in Google?
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
So you could get a different conversion result.
You could, totally.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, almost certainly. Yeah. Like conversion is unique to media.
Rightio. So don't be disheartened if I get...
But no, absolutely. And, it's not like you destroy the sales letter. It's not like I'm destroying it and I'm never going to use it again. Right? No, you might put it on ice, but you never lose it, because you might, hey, you know what? I'm going to run a test this month on, geez, Instagram seems pretty responsive. I'm going to do an Instagram test.
Cool. Understood.
All right. Good stuff, Adrian. Thank you very much. Pop you there. That's good. That'll be useful to a lot of people, I'm sure, in terms of starting again. Okay, let's go to another screen. Who have we got? Jochen next. Clarification. When I'm 10 minutes in a CFT and finish my first ticket, will the next ticket be a new CFT? You know what, Jochen, you can do it either way. I'm not too concerned about it. It's a great question. So if you finish the CFT and you'd scheduled 10 minutes and you do it in 10 minutes, thumbs up. Like, I love that. I love, I love nothing better than a cheap, dirty ticket. Love it. I get all the benefits. And then the choice is up to you. You could look at your next ticket and you could say, well, I can get a head start on that ticket. But again, remember, it's only 40 minutes and I've assumed you've already scheduled this. So, give yourself the time to do 40 minutes. Or you could say, is there something else I could do in this 40 minutes? Look at your other tickets and go, is there something I could do here that'd be worthwhile in this 40 minutes that I have left, right? So you can make a decision. There's no hard and fast law, but use your common sense, right? So, often depending on my energy level, I will start on the next ticket and use it as a bonus. But I'll remember, I've only got the 40 minutes, because here's what is important, Jochen. This is very important. When we're looking at our CFTs, remember what's super important. The 50-minute time period is super important. When we're beginning out with our activity level and our energy levels and our concentration levels, science tells us that 50 minutes is as long as we can do productive work. Our productivity drops off a cliff at 50 minutes for beginners. And, once you've been doing it a while, don't worry, your productivity still drops off a cliff, but you may be able to get out as far as 2 hours. But nobody on the planet gets past 2 hours, 90 minutes, right? So, but for most beginners, as much as you can do is 50 minutes. And indeed, maybe when you're starting out, you may even need to do 25s before you start plunging off a cliff. So I don't care if you finish your first CFT here in this first 10 minutes, that's great. You can do a second CFT as long as you tell yourself, and remember, well, I'm only giving myself 40 minutes. So if I don't finish this second CFT, which was actually going to happen here in my next 50-minute session, don't give yourself a hard time, right? Because it's a bonus. It's bonus time. Or you can look at something that will work in the 40 minutes, right? Just you take the win, celebrate the win with the 10 minutes. You've got a ticket in your done column, which is awesome. Just make sure that you don't get just make sure that you don't find yourself starting a CFT, because if you do another 10 minutes here, right? If you're doing 10 minutes here, that's bad, because your effectiveness has plummeted off a cliff after the 50-minute mark, right? And that's hard science. All right, Jochen, let me know if that has helped, Jochen, and if that's the case, that is awesome. Our next contestant here is Alex Hubert. And Alex has got a question about, in doubt about, will they talk to me? We had some really interesting conversations on the in Slack on this very topic.
Good day, Ed.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. So, Alex, will they talk to me? What's your concern?
So I did run some tests on Instagram. I ran a few ads, like promoted posts. Nothing happened. Nobody scheduled.
Yeah.
So I went now through the Facebook advertising route. Still, I want to target people on Instagram, but Facebook allows me to control a bit better targeting than this mobile interface of Instagram. But recently I discussed it with Jochen, and we have different understanding here, and I'm confused, really. What route should I take? Whether I should ask the question, can you help, or can you help me with my research? This kind of question like we discussed in Slack. Or should I first create like a mini Sage document just to start creating a list, and then in a follow-up ask the question, would you like to take part in the interview?
Okay, so we're talking about two different roadmaps. Okay, yeah. There are many ways to figure out if a market will talk to you. Okay, and I'm a huge fan right now of, let's call it the running lean roadmap.
Yes,
where you
I subscribe to that as well. You're like this.
Yeah, but that's me. That's my preference. It's not my market's preference. As it happened, it was my market's preference in my particular topic. But for a lot of markets, that might be the case. It also might be a warning signal, right? Maybe this market will not talk to you. However, I would not assume that just because, you've run an ad, right? Because remember, again, we've got to look at our stats and our response rates. How many people saw the ad? How many views did the ad get?
I think I got about 300-400 per each.
Yeah.
And,
Okay. And how many people clicked on the ad, like looked at it?
I was driving it to profile. And
Yep.
from profile, nobody clicked to the link.
So how many
And I
people?
feel,
So woo, Alex. Just listen to what I'm
yeah,
saying.
I get it.
How many people viewed your profile?
I think about 11 or 13. I don't have the exact numbers, but let me fire up the Instagram. Maybe I'll have them.
So you need no. I'm not going to. No, you need to look at this.
Okay, fair enough.
Plenty of other people that we can.
Sure.
But so if let's assume for a second that it was 411. What's that as a conversion percentage?
About 2.5.
2.5. Okay, so my conversion percentage, just as by comparison, was 14% for that same number, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's obviously a mismatch there.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe we could change. One of the things we could potentially do is obviously change the actual ad, or in this case, the post of Instagram, right? Because you used one type.
Yeah.
All right.
Totally. I just use the picture, and I've seen on my feed that, for example, like a slideshow works much better, creates much more engagement.
Maybe, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know, right? So it's an experiment. But let's say that experiment, right, certainly did not produce results that would warrant continuing.
Mm-hmm.
Without changing it.
Yes.
Now, another fantastic roadmap, but doesn't reveal quite as much information, but is very quick to implement, is the Winterhaven methodology. And that is where we collect a person's email, and they get in return, and people have, the Sage document. You get some sort of Sage document. Now, for those of you listening and wondering what we're talking about, this is basically it's an opt-in. When you don't give an email. If I just say, "Hey, give me your email," nobody's going to give you your email, right? They did, but that was 20 years ago, right? Now, right? They really need something of value in return for the email, and that's what a Sage doc is, right? And then once they get that, and you get the email, you send them a cookie question.
Yeah.
And basically, the metric that we're looking for there is, do 8% of people respond? Give you some sort of response to your email. So you've got two choices. You can either put together a Sage document. And by the way, there's training on how to do this in the fundamental workshop if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a big effort. We're not talking War and Peace. We're talking like a
PDF. I even have tickets for it.
I
would like to actually give them 9-word email.
Great. So here's the thing. So all we're looking at right there is the 8%. And that will tell us, will this particular market talk to us?
Yeah.
And start there. Right. And
it has remarkable side benefits, at least.
You can then, in the Winterhaven method, you can definitely then ask them, once you started a conversation, you could say, "Hey, could we jump on and could I interview you 20 minutes for my research project?"
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so does that sound like an answer for you? Try that roadmap?
It absolutely does.
Yeah. Okay, so both are legit. And this is part of the reason you're in the academy, right? That hey, let's just rather than jumping off a cliff, go, okay, yeah. So right now we want to see, will they make this particular ad didn't work. That's the only thing we can draw from that conclusion. We can't say Instagram sucks. We can't say all we can say at this point, because we haven't run a whole bunch of tests, that this particular thing doesn't work. Now, the traffic that we generate from here is we use a particular type of Facebook ad, which is really quick to do. But again, that's all in the fundamentals. You got tickets and the whole bunch. So So does that set you out where you want to go?
That gives me a clear roadmap. That's more than I expected.
Fantastic. Pleasure doing business.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, mate. Very good. Okay, we've got Paul here. Is our next. Hang on, type that there. Paul Cowan.
Sorry about that. I think I was muted.
There we go. Beautifully. Coming in loud and clear.
Good.
All right. Thanks for staying up this evening.
Yeah, no, it's a bit earlier than the previous one.
Yeah. No, exactly right. Exactly right. So, Paul, the challenge that you're having is figuring out an environment in which to do the CFTs. Is that right? Just give us for the purposes of everybody listening, because there's plenty of people who are having this challenge as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give us a brief.
So I'm here at home at the moment, and I work basically my day job 3 days a week, and then depending on what's going on at my business, then I'm either working weekends or sometimes I've got them off. So this weekend I had the Saturday and Sunday off because I've got important stuff to do. Mm-hmm. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday I've had off, but haven't been particularly productive, I'd say. So. In the house, we don't have like a particular office, so we don't have an office I can just go to and study. So sometimes it's fine, like the kids are at school, so Thursday, Fridays are a bit better. But Saturday, there was a lot of distractions going on, a combination of family, and then because of my business, I have to have the phone on because people can call for bookings or, they got lost in any directions. So anytime I might get a call. So I was in the middle of doing something and I got 3 calls, one after the other, and then had to deal with all those. So by the time I've spent maybe half an hour and then I have to try and get back on track again. And then I might have agreed to spend some time with my son and I have to push that back and stuff like that. And so it's, just trying to get into the flow of things. Like I said, it's I don't have a specific area. I've got I usually sit in the sitting room and work, sometimes in the bedroom, but I don't have like a desk sort of somewhere separate. I don't really have the space for it at the moment.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
So I've tried going to a library and then found the internet wasn't very good, and then I needed resources and they were at home and that sort of stuff. And so it's trying to reach a sort of something that works a bit more effectively anyway.
Now, what's your academy project? So what's the thing you're trying to build here with your academy project?
So the main thing is, trying to grow my business, which is the escape room business into a new area, which is team building. So we're looking to try and do more team building work for larger groups, more corporate groups. So the idea is to try and double my income. So
so where are you at? What are the tickets that you're trying to implement right now?
So the major thing at the moment, there was a fire in Poland, so there's a lot more scrutiny of escape rooms. So we're just trying to make sure that that's all done. So we've got a 55-page fire risk assessment, which I've been working through, and I've been just making sure all the documentation's up to date, all the processes and checklists, and I make sure I've got everything ordered I need to order if there's anything that needs doing.
Okay, great, Paul.
So that's one project.
Stop you there for a second. That's very important. No doubt. But that has nothing to do with building your team building promotion.
Understood. Yep.
Right. That's not a ticket. Right.
Yeah,
so what specifically are you working, like you want to build? So really you're targeting corporates or particular types of businesses to get them to use escape rooms as a particular as a team building, excellent.
Yeah, we also do other team building games as well. So it's also expanding what we do. So one thing is building a new website.
Stop. Time out.
Yeah.
So what are the tickets? What are the tickets that you have got here first, which is specifically with your academy project of team building? Like if you had 3 CFTs this week that you could work on this, what would you be executing?
Well, one thing I'm trying to do is build some content for an email list, so on some topics related to building teams and team management.
Okay. All right. So some content. So let's, content to support, escape rooms as cool team building exercises. Right. Okay. What else?
Want to put together a direct mail campaign to go out to businesses, just to highlight more about what we do. So I've been looking through the Dan Kennedy stuff on that.
Right. Direct. So you've been reading some stuff which is not CFTs. What's the for the direct mail campaign? What is the direct next action? What's the next action you need to take to execute? Because that's right. That's an epic. Like if we were doing that as a ticket, like I've done there, that's an epic. What's the actual next step that you have to do? Specific next step.
So we've got a basic brochure which needs updating. So be updating that brochure would be one thing.
Really?
It's sort of
is that
just
your
basic
first,
covers.
Why is that your first? Wouldn't identifying the list be? Do you already have the list? Market to.
We've got some companies we've dealt with in the past, so that's one thing you could extract out.
How
have been to us before?
Yes. So that's but that's not your academy project. Do you see where I'm getting with this?
But that's part of to mail. I mean, the best people to try and market it first of all is probably people who have been before and know what we can do. And
no,
try to get
it's not. That's two different. Not if that's what you said to me. You were trying to grow the business by getting new companies to come to the escape room for team building, correct? Or am I wrong in that?
Well, I mean, basic companies coming to us. Yeah, I mean, larger companies is good. Obviously, the bigger the company, we can do up to sort of say 60.
Team building exercise. Team building.
Yeah.
Right. You want to build the team building aspect of your business.
Yeah.
Right. Build by definition means new. Right. And Paul, what I'm noticing, and your fellow academy members are noticing, is every time I ask you a question about what's your next step, you're saying something which is directly not related to the next step. Like it might be a step down the track, but it's a step that's really comfortable for you. Researching, working on the brochure, building the website. Not one of those things is what we would call a check move, which is a reaching out to a new customer in any way, shape, or form. A direct email campaign, for example, I would have thought the first thing is identify what list are we going to buy, or how are we going to build the list of new companies. How are you going to do that?
So we've got a few targets, which are one of them is like scout groups.
Right.
So it's contacting local scout.
Okay, stop. Scout groups. How do we find out how to reach out to all scout groups? Where do we get that list?
So I'm involved a little bit with the local scout group, and then we've had some scout groups have come. So I've got some contacts. So that'd be where I'd start trying to get. I mean, also you can find information online about all the different scout groups, so you can go on the scout website. Yeah,
but you're talking about regional, right? Because you're probably not going to get a scout group from Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Right. So scout groups is one area, but that's a campaign, right? That's an email campaign. Your job each week, right, is to, if content for the escape room. Again, the reason I put that over here is until you start building your list, right, all content is moot.
Mhm.
Right? You just need to be building your list. Is that a fair assumption?
But do you not need something? You need something initially to send them when they do sign up.
Yeah.
So one thing is identifying people we can market to, so schools, companies, local companies.
Correct. And where are you going to get those lists?
That I
I'm
don't
asking
know.
you,
Some cases.
Guess what? That's a CFT.
Yeah.
That's your ticket. So so there are two challenges that you're having, right? And the reason I wanted to get to this is because if you know what your tickets are specifically, so here's your particular task. I want you to break down your 4 tickets and post them in the academy for me, right? So we can help you break them down further, I suspect.
Yeah.
Or say, that's awesome, go for it. That's your homework, right? Because here's the thing, right? If your tickets were defined really well, then depending on what you're trying to do, then you can go to a place that doesn't have good internet and you're fine, right? Because you defined your ticket. So, for example, if I'm doing planning, I know I'm doing pen and paper, so library is fine. Perfect.
Yeah.
I don't need internet at all. So it's just a nice, quiet environment that has no distractions. Right. So perfect. I know that. Right. So that's the thing. If you use the tickets, you'll actually get that focus. And by putting the tickets up, you'll actually be able to have a look, because a lot of these tickets, like creating content, is down the track. Right. It's more now, there's even in the fundamental, like if you want to create a Sage document, that takes tickets. So a Sage document in return for it. But for a lot of people, right, they're looking for a really interesting team building exercise, escape rooms.
Yeah.
Right. And, get this, how can your team use escape rooms? And so you do have to create that document. Guess what? That is a perfect library activity. If you've done all the research first, or you can do it off the top of your head, or writing the first vomit draft could be a thing. But for us to help you, right, this is really important. And you spend a lot of time, and I loved it, like with the Zettelkasten. That's great, right? But you are a high fact finder.
Yeah.
Right? And my job as your coach is to channel that power.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's awesome, right? Your ability to research stuff is incredible. And all that, like the research you were doing, it's awesome. Thank you. Right? But the only thing is, it didn't help you make any money this week.
No. Yet.
Right? Yeah, down the track it will. But here's the thing. I want to, part of the recipe and part of the academy is, if I can get you getting new business quicker, guess what? Then that opens up with money and cash flow comes.
Yeah.
We start hiring people. We can start paying more money for ads. We can do all those sorts of things. Right? So I think, so for you, is this something you could do this week for me? Is I would really love you to post up, here's my 4 academy tickets this week. Or if it's 2, if you've got 2 CFTs this week, just post your 2 academy tickets up, and I'll go in and I'll give you feedback, right? And I'll give you notes, and your fellow academy members will help out as well, because I think that's key. Because then, guess what? Your tickets also help you decide on environment. Because if you do need you can find the 50 minutes to do this uninterrupted with good internet if you need good internet. But it's a shame if you're getting interrupted and you're also not doing the right stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's better planned, then I can make sure I've got the resources I need sort of ahead of time.
100%. Exactly right. All right, Paul, does that give you some direction?
Yeah, I'll post them up.
Awesome.
About it.
Fantastic. Good on you, mate.
That's it.
Thank you very much. All right, good stuff. Okay, let's have a look. Our next person here in the funnel is Carla. This will be a really interesting question, actually. Okay, Carla is asking about a roadmap for creating my first fiction ebook.
Hi, Ed.
Hi. Okay, this is a great question because, at first glance, I have no clue, which is great because then we can answer the question, what happens when you don't have any clue about a particular roadmap for a particular topic? Okay, so let's work through this because this is a really interesting area. Okay, so the first thing, Carla, is who do you admire? Like who, if you could wave a magic wand and whose fiction writing, making money career you could do, who would it be?
Probably Stephen King.
Okay, Stephen King. Cool. That's a very good choice, as it happens, because that's one of the very few people. Has Stephen King ever written a roadmap on how to write a book?
It's called On Writing.
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so what's your problem?
I hadn't actually thought of that one.
Well, but so what I did, let's break this down for everybody. I said, whose career do you want to replicate? Right? Now, here's the thing though, right, Carla? That's great. We're not talking about replicating Stephen King. Actually, we do want to replicate Stephen King now in terms of his work practices, which, as it happens, very convenient for you, because 99 times out of 100 this isn't the case, is they have actually, in great detail, explained exactly how they work and how they come up with their ideas and how they execute and implement. So you've actually got a very successful roadmap right there. But what I want to make sure that you are not comparing yourself with, this is really important, is that you have to realize, you have to look at Stephen King first book, not Stephen King last book. Right? So take his principles from On Writing. Like, this was actually an easier answer than I'd hoped, because it's like, how do you get your ideas? How do you get your, like, it's your favorite author has given you all the exercises, right, to do.
Yeah.
Right? And it's one that I actually know really well because I quote it all the time, right? 1,500 words a day, right? If it takes you 1 hour or 3 hours, maybe 1,500 is that realistic? This is where your coach comes into it, because you might come back to me next week and say, Ed, I don't have 3 hours a day.
I don't, but
right. Well, and neither did Stephen King when he first started, did he?
No, that's right. So that's fine. I have time that I set aside to write. So that's correct. That's covered. Mm-hmm. I guess my question is more, I have the content to create an ebook. It's the actually creating the ebook.
So the actual construction of how to put together an ebook.
Yes. Yeah,
great. Well, I can use that to give my second response. Right? Let's assume for a second that I don't have a clue.
Yep.
Where would be a really good place for you to go where there are a bunch of people who have created ebooks before that can give you tips on what's a really good place for you to learn the actual construction of an ebook?
Yeah,
what could you do?
It might be called Slack.
Yes.
I have actually had a quick look on Slack looking to see if there was a roadmap for creating an ebook, but the only one was for creating an ebook for your business stuff.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so I'll type that in as a question now.
Yeah, and so give some background. This is for a fiction book, etc., etc.
Yep.
etc., right? All that sort of thing. Now, the other question as your coach, I would always say is, do you really need to understand? Because, a big principle of where we want to get down the track is who, not how. Right? You can spend hours trying to put together an ebook, or would you just prefer to deliver a Word doc manuscript to somebody and pay somebody $25 to create the ebook for you?
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to be working with my hubby on that because he's the formatty kind of person. So, and in John Birmingham's book, he talked about The Zen of Ebook Formatting by Guido Henkel. So
there you go. There's you've got a great recommendation.
I've already told Tim he needs to read that.
Yeah, good. So you've got a who, not a how. Well, the how's learning how to who, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. So you sound like you've got a roadmap for constructing an ebook. You've got a roadmap for running the fiction book. So what's the problem?
Well, I guess I just needed some clarification because I get a little confused with all of these things.
Yeah, you absolutely do, and so does everybody else, right? And that's why the Academy exists, right? That's particularly why Engage sessions exist. So you've got a writing now. The only thing, okay, and here's the thing: expectation, right? That's the other thing. So I'm saying to you, Stephen King is a full-time writer. Okay, so he has his 1,500 words. You don't have your 1,500 words. There are great examples, like the most prolific writer of all. What's his name? Trollope? No, I'm serious.
I know.
You know who I'm talking about? He was a postmaster, worked for the British Post Office all his life, and he religiously got up at 5 o'clock, worked till 7. Yep. Right, did it every day of his life, and he was the most prolific author of all time, and he continued to have his day job for his entire career.
Yeah. Yes, I think he's in on as an example in Stephen King's On Writing book as well.
Yeah, exactly right. So you've got all the stuff there. So now what you need to do is use your CFT, right, to give yourself the scheduled time. So you're doing that, and keeping in all the vomit. What does Stephen King teach? Vomit drafts. He doesn't edit. He does not edit. He sits manuscripts in a drawer for 6 months after he does that, right?
Yeah.
Perfect wording every time. He just guts it out, right? All of those sorts of, he vomits out. It's going to be shit. Newsflash, right?
No, that's fine.
Good. So you've got certainty about that.
Yeah.
You've got certainty about your roadmaps. It sounds to me like it's execution time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay, but there's the rub. You said, yeah.
It's more that there's.
So what's the problem?
I don't have a website or anything yet either. So
what? You don't have a book yet. Who needs a shit about the website? You don't, I need to make sure I've got my tax situation in order for the millions of dollars I'm going to earn from my book. No, write the goddamn book. You're a writer. Write the first draft. That's the only thing you should be considering.
Yep. Don't worry. I'm doing all of that.
Well, no, you're not. No, you're not. Are you? Well, not now, but you will next week. You will, starting from today.
Yeah. I've already actually written the first 2 books that are going to go on as ebooks, but I just needed to get some clarification.
Well, you've got you've got a dude who's done it, been there, got the T-shirt in John Birmingham.
Yep.
Right? he said, use this, so use that.
Yep.
Perfect recommendation. Don't ask all the peanuts in the Academy. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm kidding, everybody. I love all of you. No, you've got there you go. You've got 2 perfect roadmaps done by people that you should or do admire. It's sad.
Yep.
Boom. When I want to hear from you is if you are not executing on those CFTs, right? Because that's where I can help.
Yep.
Right. That's where, how many writing sessions have you got scheduled for this week?
I have 2 hours a day.
2 hours a day. Okay. Yeah. Are you breaking them up into 50,
yes.
10, 50? Good girl. Fantastic. All right. Good. Go to it, Carla. Kick ass.
I plan on.
Excellent. Well done. Thanks for. Does that help? No, seriously. Does that help?
Yeah. Yes, it has helped. I've got lots of scribbles on my page now with arrows going everywhere. But yeah,
I'm glad you didn't answer. Yeah, because that would have been bad. All right. Good on you, Carla. Thanks very much.
Okay. Thanks, Ed.
See ya. All right. Very good. What tools do you use to gather data? just Google Analytics or other click tracking tools? I just use Google Analytics. There's a quick, nice question. Alan's asking, setting up SendGrid with ClickFunnels, Send13 doesn't work anymore. Setting up Funnel and SageDoc. Okay, Alan, woof. Okay.
Oh, Ed, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Alan.
It just asked me if I wanted to unmute, so I unmuted.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how much you can help me. Because things are actually going okay. I'm still at an early stage.
Yeah.
And I'm working through the fundamentals, because at the moment I'm probably a little bit behind everybody else. So I'm working through that fundamentals area, and I've got to the part where I'm setting up the funnels. Yes. And the next stage is set up the SageDoc.
Yeah.
Now it's actually going okay. I just have a lot of CFTs I still need to work through, but the whole process is kind of working okay for me at the moment.
Good. But here's the thing: you had setting up with SendGrid, because you're right. Send13, and that leaves is I'm not sure SendGrid is potentially a better alternative. So setting up that is super easy if you are a computer geek, right? If you're not, it may as well be all gobbledygook. So the first question, my favorite answer to this question really is who, not how, because it's not going to add any value to your life to really understand how this all works.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing would be, can you get somebody, just pay somebody to do that for you? Flick them $50 to set it up?
Well, the thing about me is that I am a bit of a computer geek. I've been in digital marketing for 20 years. Now, the stuff here...
So you are a computer geek.
I am a little bit, yeah.
Okay, well, that's a different story. Well, no, but here's the thing. I still think you should be who, not how. Let me say, in the future, who, not how. What I would say now, and if fellow Academy member Adam Teese, who is actually a key member of the ClickFunnels team, right, and is a wonderful person to have in the academy. But look, you are more than, then if that's the case, you're more than capable of following they've got a lot of fabulous tutorials in terms of clicking up, because that's their main, that is ClickFunnels' preferred methodology, right?
SendGrid.
SendGrid, yeah. I use SendGrid too.
So, brilliant.
So you could do that. Where I want to caution you, right, just for down the track, is you don't want to be, because that doesn't help your customers, right?
That's true. That's very true.
Your business. So that's the only little note of caution. But apart from that, Alan, the tutorials are excellent.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what I'm finding really great is working through this whole kind of system and the Sage protocol and getting all the content out. The one thing that was really difficult for me previously was getting all the content out. But from following your stuff, I'm doing podcasts every day now, and I'm getting the text out of that, and it's working really well.
Alan, that's fantastic. I'm thrilled.
I'm one of those girlies, what's.
Yeah, no, good. Here's the thing, right? I make fun of you because I'm the opposite, but that's the point. Before we recognized that there were different types of entrepreneurs, each great at what they do, and it's our jobs to help each other, right? And my favorite, girly swats like Cara Berglund helps me out all the time, pulling me up where I am about to leap into a ant's nest of pain and agony. Right, and Adam, so we help each other out. That's the cool. And when people get in the weeds talking Zettelkasten and talking about obscure YouTube videos, that's my chance to jump in and say, "Hey, gang, how many notes have we written this week?" Because that's really the important part of Zettelkasten, is actually getting some notes done, and so we can all help each other out. So that's fantastic, Alan. Brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. It's going well. I know now when I get my Facebook ad set up, I'm going to have loads of questions then, because I know a lot of things won't work.
But the great thing is you won't be technically intimidated by any of that, and that is a nice little help, because for so many people it's technically intimidating as well, and you'll be fine with that part.
Yeah.
I've just got to make sure I stop you watching videos at the appropriate time and get you advertising.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the time to jump on. All right, mate, good stuff.
Brilliant. Thanks
well
for that.
Okay, let's having a look. Alex has a quick question here. I'm creating my Sage doc. It's a quick tutorial. Should I use images showing how to do it or keep it text-based? I'm a big fan of images myself. Like I love my favorite, in fact, my most successful Sage documents were, look, it might throw things out, but some of my favorite Sage documents that I've created are literally screenshot. And there's some great tools that you can use that like Napkin is a tool that I use for the Mac that you can use to make amazing, very, screenshot tutorial type PDFs. There's actually some great programs that are there for that. So here's the thing. If I've got the choice, what's the great maxim? Show, don't tell. If you can put in a screenshot and, a picture tells 1,000 words, et cetera, is a big deal, right? So that is fantastic. Does that ratio 0.5%, 1% would be the same for any range or price? Yes, it's irrelevant of price. I think that was a question back, Diego, from when we were talking about what would we expect about a good conversion rate for a long form sales letter of cold targeted traffic. So that's a good one. That's good. Valerie here. I'm working on my Facebook lead gen ad. I've created 5 to 7 headlines, 5 to 7 descriptions, and working on images. Now, is there a process for deciding on which to use? Let's bring you in, Valerie. Oops. Because this is another opportunity for me to help. All right, you there, Valerie? Oh, hang on. I might have not allowed you to talk, which would sort of... There we are. It'll just ask you to unmute. Are you there, Valerie?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you. So, all right, so let's have a look here. So I'm working on my Facebook lead gen ad. I've created 5 to 7 headlines, 5 to 7 descriptions, and I'm working on images now. Is there a process for deciding which to use? Hey, Valerie, I'm wondering, is there a place that you know of that has a whole bunch of people who have been doing all sorts of Facebook ads and that might be able to help you choose which one to use?
I'm guessing Slack.
Well done. Yes, but I wanted to, and this gives me a wonderful opportunity to explain how you should go about doing this. So yes, you should 100% use Slack. And indeed, that's what Copy Club is for. There is also, though, a Facebook ads channel. Right? So you could post it on the Facebook ads channel. And you could reference it also to Copy Club, like you can share to Copy Club. Does that make sense to you?
How do you share it to Copy Club? I don't.
Well, once you post it in Facebook ads, here's my headlines and so on. You then, once you posted it, you'll see there's 3 little dots like this.
Right.
Right, 3 little dots like that. At the top of your post, you click on that. There is a share button. And this is a classic example of show, don't tell. Yeah, let's have a look. I've got a few posts there I've got to have a look at. So let's have a look here. So if I click on this one from Leslie, see that's, it's horizontal dots.
Okay.
Right. Oh, I can't share that one because it's Emily's. There we are. Share. So I use the arrow for share. And look at that. if I wanted to share it to Copy Club, I could tap on copy. Oops. Oh, no, that's good. Copy Club, see, share, boom.
Great.
I'm not going to do it because then that'll waste. So you can share the post. But here's the important thing when you're after feedback, right? This is the key thing that I wanted everybody to listen. Whenever you're asking for copy feedback, it's very, very important for you to describe the audience that this ad is for. Right? Because here's the thing. If you don't, then people will give you their feedback and opinions as themselves. And you don't want that. Like Valerie, who are you targeting as a matter of interest?
Genealogist crowd.
Right, genealogists. But like, who are they? So it's just people who are interested in genealogy.
Doing a couple of the like family search and ancestry audiences.
Great. And are you narrowing them down any further?
I tried to get to that 100,000 number, so I did like people 30 and older. And
so this is important. You can't skip this.
Okay.
Right. I'm 30 and older. I'm interested in genealogy. Because if you didn't, guess what? We might have some Millennial Academy members answering and saying, oh, that doesn't appeal to me at all. But here's the great thing. Human beings are really good. If you tell me to Ed, I want you to think like a 14-year-old Japanese girl who's into cosplay. I can put myself in that situation easily, as could all of you. Right? It's a remarkable thing that our brain can do. But we have to engage that mechanism. So that's why it's so important before you give us the headlines and everything you have to describe. Okay, imagine you're 30 plus. You're interested in genealogy. What other things did you do to get down to the 100,000?
I think that's it. I just targeted a couple of...
Good. Male, female?
Both.
Okay, good, because that's important too. So I'm a male or female who's over 30, who's interested in genealogy. Now, as long as you do that, then the feedback you're going to get is going to be way constructive. If you don't do that, people will give you their feedback and they're not interested in genealogy. And they'll say stupid things like, well, I'm not really interested in genealogy, but blah, blah, blah. Right? Waste of time. Waste of everybody's time. That feedback is useless. But if you ask people to put themselves in the situation, people are actually really good at going, oh, okay. And then they'll ask much better questions. Wow, would I understand what this word is if I'm that person? Right, they're going to give you much better feedback.
Great.
Okay, does that help?
That does help. Can I ask one more question?
Please.
Would it make sense to try to put together what I think the best headline, or do I do it separately, the headline and the description and the image? Or do I put it all together and try to?
It's totally up to you.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you very much.
No worries at all. And if I was an inclination, you will get bit, because if you do, here's the thing, you will bias the feedback if you tell people which one you like the best.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Good on you, Valerie. Thanks very much. And that'll be useful for a lot of people, because that, giving feedback is, there's a real art to it. In fact, there's one other, for people who are giving feedback, it's very important that you say, oh, I don't like this, or I don't like that. That's terrible feedback, right? And it's actually hurtful feedback. It can really hurt people, because people are fragile little butterflies and snowflakes, right? That's no good. What's much better way of giving feedback is saying, instead of X, why not try Y? So the job of the person giving feedback is to also give a suggestion. That's really important, right? If you just give feedback without giving a suggestion or an example of like giving a positive thing, then the feedback can be hurtful. Whereas if you always include a suggestion, and you're too are not afraid of that suggestion being rejected or kept, it's just a suggestion, then that's a way we can do much better feedback. All right, so so thank you for asking that question. All right, let's go through here. Lots of great discussions on the chat. Busted just today. I skipped my important next step, jumped to where I was more comfortable. At least I caught myself and went back to it. Well done. Fantastic. Okay. I think I'm just going through. Oh, hang on. No, I thought late one in here. Alex said it would need to be photos of me doing it. Is that still okay? 100%. Yes, absolutely. Or do a video if that's easier for you. There's, a great Sage document. Seriously, a Sage document, which is, a page which has, hi, here are the top 5 YouTube videos solving the problem you have. Here are top 5. And you have like a screenshot of the video and a clickable link. Screenshot of the video, clickable link. If you solve the person's problem, they will love you for that. They will absolutely love you for that. Very good. Excellent. I think we are at the end of our session today. Thank you very much, everybody. That was an awesome session, if I do so. Before you go, what I would love you to do is I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes to type in the chat box. What was your biggest insight from today's session? Okay, so set a timer for 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes and counting. Great. Just give us what your best insight was. Sage of YouTube links, love that. Great, yeah, it's fantastic. Bulk is immaterial in this day and age of digital, when we're looking at, things like, we just want problems solved. We don't care anymore about, that it has to have thumb value. It's free, for example. The Napkin Apple app, it's great. I love Napkin. It's fantastic for doing that sort of thing. There's another one, and the name, it's like Script or Scriptable, and it's literally designed for making tutorials. Really, really good. That asking Ed for clarity always works. Your clarification about Lean and Winter Haven roadmaps. Good. I am bad at deciding on next step. No, but here's the thing. That's great. That's our experiment. And now you've got an experiment, Paul, about how we can work together on that to get help on that. Getting clear on CFTs will give you the best environment to do the CFT in. Absolutely. And by the way, it's also great is if you find yourself with 50 minutes and you're in an environment that's got terrible internet, for example, then pick a CFT that you're going to be able to do with that. Take another CFT from another area. When asking for feedback on an ad, give details on who you'll be targeting. Nice. Never considered images for my Sage. Neat idea. Oh, I love images. Another just off the top of my head too is another one that you can use. Another great app is Comic Life. You can create a comic for your giveaway. It's also a great way of doing it. Narrowing down your CFT and getting clear can move to a different place. Keep it simple, get help. Don't worry about being behind. Just jump in where you are. Variety of great info, using it all now. Stay focused on the goal so you don't get off track. Sometimes get overwhelmed about next step CFTs. And if you do that, for goodness sake, everybody, ask your squad members. Say, hey, gang, I'm a bit stuck. Here's where I am. Here's what I'm doing. Here's the CFT I've got. What do you guys think? This is the beauty of having a squad is, if you don't just toss up in isolation yourself, get the squad to throw. They'll appreciate the practice, right? They will 100% appreciate the practice. I'll jump in as well. I'm Monday to Friday. I'm always in the Slack. And as you saw before, it's super easy to go through and find that and figuring out how that works. Very good. Excellent, everybody. Well, thank you very much. I'll turn off the recording now. Thank you. If you enjoyed the recording, I'll make sure I post that in the appropriate sections when it's all finished.